How do you lighten your load in the backcountry? Well, first it starts with lightening the glass, and for that, Mark Boardman of Vortex joins Gun Talk Hunt.
Hey, I'm KJ, dedicated lifelong hunter here. If you got an interest in all things hunting, you're in the right spot. Whether chasing quail across the plains of Oklahoma or in pursuit of elk in the backcountry of British Columbia, you'll always find me on the hunt.
All right, welcome in, all you Gun Talk hunters. This is your host, KJ, and hey, I'm not going to lie, today we've got a really good one. If you're looking to lighten your load, we've got Mark Boardman here from Vortex. Today's episode is actually brought to you by Vortex. Thank you, Vortex, and Range Ready Studios. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Mark Boardman, what do you do at Vortex, and what are you doing here?
Man, no, number one, KJ, appreciate you having me on. What do I do at Vortex? I'm part of the marketing team here. Fortunate to work with a great group of folks that we have a lot of fun, but we work hard at the same time. So, I've been with Vortex, going on 15 years, going on 15 or going on 16. So it's been a fun ride for sure.
Well, it's definitely grown, and I think everybody out there who probably listens to this show knows Vortex, knows what they're all about. But it's really grown. Like, I don't know if it's been the last 5 to 7 years that I've really seen Vortex explode. And you guys got new offices in Barneveld, up there in Wisconsin, and man, that facility is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, we're really fortunate to have this facility and what it's allowed us to do essentially is serve our customers better. You know, yeah. I mean, from top to bottom, A to Z, the core of this company are the customers. If it doesn't make sense for our customers, it doesn't make sense for us. And it's just like it's not even part of the equation if the bottom line is it doesn't benefit the folks who we're making these optics for. So yeah, it's a beautiful facility, but man, it's just set up so. I mean, I can tell you this: I wouldn't have the ability to concept something like this because it's really fluid and just works really well.
It really does, and it's gorgeous. And your background, you're a hunter. You guys got a lot of nice property out there to hunt, and the ability to chase big whitetails. And we kind of talk about, and I'm out in the backcountry. I'm out hunting. I'm a hunter that's typically always on the move. And we talk about lightening our load and lightening our setups, and where does that begin with? And you and I kind of talked briefly before we hopped on here about, what are the areas where we see the greatest gain in eliminating weight? What were some of your thoughts on that?
I mean, there's definitely a few spots as a hunter, and particularly a backcountry hunter these days. Yeah. I mean, we are in an era of this is the golden era of backcountry hunting right now, from even just knowledge that people have access to, but the equipment is just getting better and better and better. I mean, you can sleep systems, shelter systems, and optics systems. I think we'll get there today. But man, the ability to shave weight in significant ways with high quality gear, man, it's allowing people to go in further, stay longer, be more comfortable, and then have the tools to be more effective, and bring home that buck, bull, or bear, whatever you're after.
Yeah. Well, and you talk about sleep systems, like little shelters and little tents. My gosh, I remember setting up a tent with my dad in the backcountry, and it was an act of Congress for us not to kill each other. And I mean, now you're talking, something that used to weigh in the, 10 to 11 pounds, you're packing this big thing in there. Now you're talking about less than 2 pounds. I mean, some less than a pound. I've got a little, I forget what it is, a little tarp that I could sleep under if I needed to, that weighs ounces.
For sure. I mean, it's well within range, and to be sub 5 pounds for your entire sleep system. I mean, that's talking your sleeping bag, your sleeping pad, and your shelter throwing, maybe potentially a backcountry pillow if you want to be ultra plush. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I like,
really amazing to think about, like the fact that you can have an entire, sleep and shelter system that's less than 5 pounds.
yeah, I like that you threw in a little backcountry pillow to be ultra plush, because that's a like a I mean, that's a treat if you get to take that. But man, you can walk into the backcountry. If you set your goal at like 40 pounds, you're going to be able to carry more gear than you know of nowadays. And typically, the lighter you go, and it was like this on the fishing side. The lighter setup you went with, the more expensive it got, and it's starting to come down. Those prices are decreasing. I mean, I think you're starting to see that come through. But when we talk about lightening the load on optics, that almost seems like an impossible task. And Vortex has come up with a new one. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. So in front of me, I've got it's the Mini Razor HD from Vortex. It's a little spotting scope. This is an old Trigicon. If you're listening to this, I'm sorry. You're going to have to go on and see this thing. This has a big 86 millimeter objective lens on it. It's massive. And it weighs as much as, a lot of those sleep systems. So it's a big unit that if you go in the backcountry and hunt, you should not be without a spotting scope. So you had to take something like this on the road, and that takes up a lot of weight. Now I'm going to put this aside and talk about the Razor HD spotting scope here that I have. It's a 13 by 39, and it is probably, would you say it's probably the lightest weight spotting scope out there?
I mean, I can tell you this: it's going to be extremely competitive in that class of spotting scope. And a lot goes into a spotting scope of that weight and size to get the optical quality that one has in particular. I mean, there's still, in the Razor series, we've got a 65 millimeter and an 85 millimeter version, right? So there's definitely still a place for those spotting scopes. But I think, we've affectionately called this one the baby Razor. In fact, its predecessor was an 11 to 33 by 50, right?
Okay.
And it was a holdover of the previous generation of Razor spotters and was, in the lineup up until this point. And why that was because the product development team said, hey, it was such a good spotting scope, actually. When we make this change, the change needs to be significant. And if we're not able to make it significantly better for our customers, then we're not going to change it yet. And so this one was the last to kind of follow suit. And they met their goals. Like you said, it's a 13 to 39 versus an 11 to 33. It's a 56 versus a 50. It's got a helical focus on it, which keeps the spotting scope, lightweight, trim, durable, significant improvement in optical quality. The list really goes on. It's coming in, I want to say about, between 28, 29 ounces, right in there. It's actually, slightly heavier than its predecessor, but what you're getting for that marginal increase in weight is exponential in the performance category. I know myself, along with a lot of folks here at Vortex, have been anxiously awaiting this spotting scope. And there'll definitely be times where we reach for the other models, but I would venture to guess that more often than not, at least for me personally, I know I'm going to reach for this one.
Well, yeah, you look at the application use of this spans greater. If you're heading out to the range, you start talking about little things where you just need to grab a spotter and not grabbing something as cumbersome. But definitely the optics that we have and that Vortex offers definitely has a use. If I'm heading out to a match and I need a glass long range over 1,000 yards or so, I'm definitely going to take something with a little bit more range than this, just so I can call my hits and we're all good. But man, just to be able to trim that much weight and that much, not necessarily weight. It's also a size issue that you're dealing with, and a bulkiness of a giant spotter like that Trijicon I had on the table. You know, you start looking at that, and then you're like, okay, that takes one full side pocket. Like that's going to take the entire thing. And then if it's angled, then you've got an even bigger problem, because now you're like, okay, you know, the eyepiece might have to stick outside of the zipper, because it's, unless you have a straight, you know, spotting scope, that's got to go somewhere. And you guys have done a great deal on this, because it has a removable eyepiece, which is awesome. So,
yeah, removable eyepiece. So, you know, that's going to give a person some flexibility. I mean, honestly, I think in a lot of, you know, backcountry backpacks, it's likely could fit in your top lid, right? So it's like, it's going to fit in your top lid. It's going to be easily accessible. It's going to be, so yeah, it just the performance and space and weight ratio of the new Razor 13 to 39 is really just it's impressive. And I think it's easy to look at it, and this happened with the other version too. It's easy to look at it, and just because of, like, you know, appearance wise, like, well, there's no way that could do, you know, even remotely close to what my full size spotter can do.
Yeah.
And is it going to do everything? No, but it's going to do a heck of a lot. And I think once a person does look through it, that's when minds get changed. That's when you start asking yourself, well, wait a minute, what can I do with this thing? And actually, is this thing going to do everything that I need it to do? A lot of spotting scopes spend their lives between, you know, 20 and 40 power. You know, this is a 13 to 39. I mean, it's really right in that sweet spot.
Yeah. And I think, so I had an instance where, you know, we were in the backcountry, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay, we need to make a move on a bull. So we were going to go make this move on the bull, but I didn't want to carry the whole pack with me. So I have like a guide lid so I can throw stuff. Well, the spotter that I had did not fit in that guide lid, and I ended up needing it down the road. So I think, man, when you're talking spot on, like as far as like size, I mean, if you want to be crazy and you want to carry your big spotter and this one, this is a great on the go thing. This is a great, you know, now you don't have to drive in your truck with this giant spotter squeezing in between the seat and everything. Like, this tucks away just so nicely. So if you're on a pronghorn hunt and you're driving the roads and you see a group, man, you could throw this up with no issues.
Oh, for sure. And it's going to allow you to, you know, it could be the difference in another day of food, right? Depending on the hunt.
Yes.
That could be like really important, or carrying a little bit more water, you know, carrying, a couple more liters of water, or, you know, I mean, or just less weight in general. You know, maybe you shave 3 pounds off your kit. Perfect. That's really hard to do. Like you said, when you're trying to shave weight, you're paying hundreds of dollars generally to remove just a few ounces. And so, and it could be a case where you have multiple spotters. Maybe you have one that you like to use at the truck, and it's the big dog, and you throw it on the big tripod, and you're doing some serious long distance work with it. And this is the one that you take with you when you hit the high country or get in the backcountry, because your spotter's not going to be doing you any good if it's the one that you leave in the truck. That's for sure.
Exactly. Hey, we're going to jump in here from a word from our sponsors real quick, but on the other side, we're going to get into, okay, how much is this going to set me back? And 2, we're going to talk about tripod options that Vortex also offers with Mark Boardman. All right, this episode is brought to you by Range Ready Studios. We have all your classes that you need to become a better shooter. Why is that important? Well, if you're a better shooter, that means more one-shot, one-kills, which we owe it to the game that we pursue to be ethical and efficient with our rounds downrange, because you are responsible for every one of those rounds downrange, whether it is out in the field or on the streets or on the range. You owe it to yourself to get some training, and rangereadystudios.com can get you there. Visit rangereadystudios.com to learn about all our classes. And Vortex has a ton of options when it comes to training or learning about firearms. Vortex really is a leader in our industry, and they've got a lot of content out there that makes you a better shooter and better knowledgeable about the firearms that we use in our daily lives. Whether you're learning about glass or learning to shoot, Vortex can get it done for you. And I know it's kind of weird talking about Vortex optics. They produce optics, spotting scopes, tripods, but they also have a training arm. It's called Vortex Edge. I've taken a class out there. I love it. Very good. But you can visit vortexoptics.com/vortex-edge to learn more about that and their content. They do some great content out there. So visit them at vortexoptics.com. All right, we're back with Mark Boardman of Vortex Optics, and we're talking about lightweight. We're talking about trimming your pack down and how you do that. And a lot of it all starts with glass and how you can lighten it up, because you start talking about your rifle. Okay, lightening the weight on that optic. And it's typically spotting scope. People just say, yes, I have a spotting scope. It's big, but I've got to take it. And now you've got an option with what you're calling the baby razor.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a name that has lasted, kind of throughout the lifespan of it. And it's, I'd say we call it the baby razor, but it certainly doesn't perform like a baby. It's got some high-end performance, that's for sure.
It's got all the attributes of a seasoned spotting scope, like everything you look for. And so I know, like, spotting scopes, if you don't have one, you're definitely missing out, but you're entering into what I would consider kind of like what Mark said is a golden age of lightweight backcountry hunting gear. If you're just now starting out, yeah, congratulations, because we had to put up with bulky items in the past. How much is the baby razor going to end up costing folks?
I think at retail you'll probably find it right around that $1,000 mark.
Jeez.
And I'd say
that is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, is it a chunk of change? Yeah, but man, the performance that you're getting with this thing is, I mean, like you said before, it out punches its price point, no doubt.
Absolutely, it does. And look at it this way: you're saving weight, and you're going to pay a little bit more. But with a lifetime guarantee on these things, like I have not seen many folks out there match what Vortex does as far as turnaround of optics and performance, backing it up with a lifetime guarantee.
Yeah, I mean, we work hard to build products that, our intent is that a person never needs that warranty, right?
Yes.
It'd be a pretty poor business model if we planned on that happening. But it's there if you need it, right? And if you're a Vortex customer, we're going to take care of you for the life of that optic. And it's, no questions asked. It truly is a no-fault transferable lifetime warranty, and we've got a team of folks here ready to take care of it. If you ever do have an issue, we hope you don't, and I'd say it's likely that you won't, but we're here if you need us.
Well, and it's a quality gear that you're going to that is going to last a lifetime, literal lifetime. What is the craziest thing that has come through your door lately, that a story about an optic or something? Because I know that people drop them off the back of trucks, people drop them off a mountain. Like, there's a lot of wild stories out there. What's the one lately that has stuck with you?
Oh man, I wish I should have gone down to the repairs team. They're the ones that are close to that. But I mean, we've had everything from, and these are some older stories, and maybe I've even mentioned them before. But a gentleman got kicked in the chest by a horse, and it broke his binos in half. We've had people, in the armed forces, during times of conflict, get hit by an IED and it damaged their binoculars. We've had people accidentally shoot their optic. There's definitely some wild stuff that happens. It rolls off a cliff. Maybe it's a little steep. But yeah, the best stories, like I can think of, like one, it did fall off a cliff, but they duct taped it together, and we're able to use it for the rest of the hunt. Obviously we were able to, get them squared away in a little bit more of a refined fashion when they got back. But Yeah, it's I mean, as you know, KJ, I mean, we don't use these optics in the most friendly of environments all the time, and wild things happen, and when those wild things happen, we're here to take care of our
Yeah.
customers.
So that you just mentioned this, and this is a great opportunity for you to provide a little bit more clarity. So the other day in the office, we're sitting here and we're talking, and Chris gets a call, and he's over here and he's talking, and I hear him, and he's kind of talking about optics and scopes, and my scope caps aren't staying on, and he's getting frustrated with them, and Chris leans across the hallway and he goes, "Hey KJ, do you ever have scope caps on your scopes?" And I go, "No, I never do." And you know what? How many times I've had scratched lenses and everything? 0 times. So I don't know if that is what you guys are doing with your lens coatings. Maybe subconsciously I'm being very careful, but I never have scope lenses or scope caps on like that. Am I doing everything wrong? Should I be utilizing scope caps? But I never have issues with them ever.
You know, I don't use them either. I will use I've used like a stealthy hunter rifle cover,
Yeah.
or the solo hunter rifle cover. Like I'll use
Yeah.
covers like that. I've
Yeah.
used both of those, pretty extensively, which do cover the optic. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't use scope caps all that often. For me, it's a moisture debris thing
Yeah.
versus actually like I'm worried about scratching the lens perhaps. I mean, I will say that the exterior lenses do have like a hard durable coating to prevent scratches. But yeah, I'd say at the end of the day, it's glass. So I think probably we're all like somewhat cognizant of like, oh, maybe I shouldn't put my lens up against the sharp rock or things like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I mean,
Ye-
some folks love like lens caps. We have those too.
Yep.
A lot of our scopes, you can get like or they come with like a neoprene
Yep.
cover. I like those. Those are pretty quick.
I do like those. And the great thing about the Razor HD spotting scope, it does come with a neoprene cover, which I
Mhm.
love that. Especially, I don't know why. I'm probably more careful with my spotting scopes than I am with my scopes on my firearms. I just am. But
Yeah, yeah, and that neoprene cover that's going to protect your objective and your
yeah.
eyepiece. So you're gonna be set there. So
Well, and these covers, these seem to like fit really well. Like it's a good snug fit. It's not going to just fall out at the drop of a hat, which I've seen on a lot of other spotting scopes, which goes into the quality of product that they're launching out here with the Razor HD. And when we talk about lightening up in other places, what I've gotten into a habit of, and what I think everybody should, is tripod use. Always having the gear is too good right now to not have a stable platform to shoot from and a glass from. Like it's not an excuse anymore to be shooting off tree limbs and stuff like that. We owe it to the game that we chase to be as stable as possible. And you guys just launched a new tripod that is absolutely sick. I don't have one. I think I have the High Country here, the High Country 2, I believe it is. Also a great tripod, but just maybe I don't know if it's heavier or not than the Switchback.
yeah, I'd venture to guess that it's probably coming in. You know what? I guess I don't have the weight number on that.
Here you go.
Off the
This
top of
is
my
okay.
head.
The weight on the High Country is 4 pounds, so that's what we're
Okay,
getting. Minimum height is at 11.3 inches. The maximum load is 22. Then the maximum height is 62 and a half inches. There you go. And then
gotcha.
for the now, okay, so the Switchback is just a tick heavier, and it's coming in at 4.6 pounds. But minimum height is 5.8 inches. That is low. That
Yeah,
is really low, and a maximum height of 65 inches. So you're getting a little more length out of that, which I really do like that. But
yeah.
yeah,
So, and it's funny. A lot of we think in terms of like, well, how high can a tripod get, or how big? Bigger is better. And when it comes to tripods, and I'd say particularly a tripod that you're going to shoot off of,
Mm-hmm.
how low can you get can be very important as well. So yeah, the new Switchback carbon tripod, like I said, coming in at 4.6 pounds. It's got kind of like a hybrid ball slash pan head. It's a very, very unique head system on there. Makes it so it's optimized for shooting, right?
Yep.
It's also optimized for glassing. So you can do some pretty serious tripod glassing. Use your spotting scope, like the new Razor. Put that on it,
Yep.
and then when it comes time to shoot, you've got an extremely stable and versatile shooting platform. I think the max load on this is like 44 pounds or something like that. So I mean, you
Yep.
can put just a ton of weight on it. That carbon fiber, for the size and robustness of this tripod, does keep it extremely light. Carbon fiber is inherently, vibration dampening. So when you are
Yep.
glassing, it's going to reduce vibration. Extremely durable. It's got twist lock legs, I mean, the whole kit really is a game changer when it comes to having, like I said, kind of that hybrid glassing slash, shooting system in the field.
And I think I carry one everywhere I go, and it has saved my bacon. Now the one I carry in the field is literally, like, I think it's a BH Photo special, and it's not as durable as this. I've had to replace the feet on it 3 or 4 times. I've had to like make repairs on it, and they don't have a good warranty on theirs, but it goes through hell and back. I mean, it really is durable, but man, the new carbon fiber, I mean, legs on it look great. It looks like what's the adjustment system on cant of the legs?
I mean, I guess I don't know.
I mean, do you have one there?
Oh yeah, so I've got one
There you
here.
go.
I don't know if you can see it or not. So I've kind of got it.
Okay, so it's kind of your traditional kind of, you can push in and flare those legs out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you've got this lever which you can feather. That's going to release the ball head there.
Yep.
This knob here, obviously, that's going to tighten up.
Closes that Arca Swiss mount.
Arca plate. And so then that lever there loosens that collar, and you can kind of feather that a little bit too. So you can just get really smooth panning with it.
Yeah. So it looks like it's more of a lever, like there's more levers, and it looks more streamlined than a lot of the tripods out there, because if you're making adjustments on your rifle and you're making adjustments on your head, like let's say you have I don't know why you would have these anymore, but I do have a pig saddle that I'll use every once in a while, or a hog saddle, and that system and tightening knob on it, the tension knob on those pig saddles, they get in the way of rotating that pan head or locking that down sometimes, and it's a hindrance if you don't have your tripod set up exactly right. So it looks like you guys at Vortex have like really trimmed all your operating controls down to where you're not going to get a lot of malfunctions in there.
It's a sleek system for sure, and if you wanted to, you could still put that type of system,
Yeah,
and use it in conjunction with this tripod. That it's going to work just fine. A lot of folks are, when they're building a custom rifle, they're putting that Arca rail right on the bottom, or some sort of capability to be able to add it.
Yeah, it's all this. All this is going down to, don't use hog saddles, don't use pig saddles anymore. Those are kind of they're going outdated. It's all about the Arca Swiss. All the Arca Swiss mounts, you can get them for M-LOK. So you can literally have a little plate on every one of your guns. And the Razor HD that's just launching from Vortex is Arca Swiss mount capable. I mean, it's right there. It's so easy. It's integrated really nicely. Man, that's the wave. That's where everybody's going.
Yeah, I mean that is what's nice is to see some kind of some standardization, and adoption of that Arca
Yeah,
footprint,
it's about time.
industry wide. Like you said, it's about time. It's long overdue. And yeah, all of the razor spotters, that the foot that's actually on the spotting scope. Yes, if you have a different tripod that doesn't have an Arca head on it, you can certainly put a plate on the bottom of it. But
Yeah.
if you've got an Arca compatible tripod head, the foot of this tripod is going to slide right into it.
But we're talking about lightening the load, and so going more streamlined is absolutely 100% what you want to do. If one system runs the other, or two systems fit on one, that's what you want to do. And you don't need to mess with different mounts, different head options. Like, man, just trim it down and run all the same system.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And we're talking about shaving weight here, and you can either shave weight and just take that weight that you've removed and run with it, or you can say, oh, I'm going to add this or I'm going to add that. So like where before, which I still would like. So this is our Summit Carbon 2 tripod, right?
Yeah.
I think that's coming in at about 2.5 pounds or something like that.
Yeah.
But now it's like, well, if I have this smaller razor spotter, maybe I actually want to carry the Switchback because I'm saving some weight off the big spotter, but now I've got a fully integrated shooting system, so now I've given myself a little bit more capability when I'm in the field. It's all in how you want to slice it, and everybody's going to do it a little bit different, and that's part of the fun.
That's the beauty of it, and lightening your pack and understanding like where you can save. And I always like the idea of more water. I like that idea, or more food. But hopefully you'll be packing a lot of food out.
Yeah, right.
That's all our hope, man. Well, what hunts you got coming up?
Man, so probably the closest one coming up, trying to nail down some dates, but going to try and hit the high country and do a fall bear hunt. So get up in the Alpine and chase black bears this fall, back in my home state of Washington. So nice. I just love it back there. I've just fallen in love with that high country up there, and being able to crawl around the mountains in August with a rifle is just something that I don't really want to miss out on.
I wouldn't want to miss out on it either, especially when you got good gear like this. Man, the mini Razor HD, the baby Razor, if y'all want to call it that, whatever you're calling it, man, just keep producing them, because it really is a hit, and I think you guys all need to go out and check it out. Tell them where they can find more, Mark.
Man, you can find out more on vortexoptics.com. Tons of information there. If you have other questions, give us a shout. When this thing, launches in August, you're going to be able to find it at your local dealer if they're a Vortex dealer. So, yeah, I mean, really any avenue that a person would want to, they should be able to get the information they need.
Perfect. Well, man, I appreciate you joining us.
Nope. Thanks for having me on. It's always fun to chat optics and hunting and lightning kit. I spend many, many hours thinking about these things.
I know. We go through our packs almost daily in the summer, just going, okay, we got to refine it just a bit more. How can we cut this? And because I don't train like I used to, and lightening the pack is always a good option.
Yes, you are correct. Me as well.
All right, all you gun talk hunters, you know the drill. You know what to do. Keep those muzzles pointed in a safe direction, and always be on the hunt.